Hello everyone, my name's Ellie. I must give you a trigger warning because my story does have some abuse. I won't go into a hell of a lot of detail, but I will mention some instances to show you what my monster mother-in-law put me through. I still regret the day I married my now ex-husband Jake. I thought he was a good man. I thought that he came from a family that was respected. His mother, Chrissy, worked at a charitable foundation doing good for people. His father, Xavier, was a staunch businessman who took care of his family and made sure they were left wanting for nothing. Overall, they were a great family and anyone would be happy to be a member of their family. Initially, I was happy to be a part of their family too. It was after my marriage to Jake that everything changed. My mother-in-law, Chrissy, became abusive towards me. You see, Chrissy slowly started to do stuff to hurt me and emotionally control me. It started off with her stealing my glasses, phone and purse and hiding it so that I couldn't find it. Then she would laugh while I anxiously tried to find them out. Then she would intensively ask me to carry extremely hot pots that would burn me. One time she added shrimp juice to her chicken casserole so that I would develop an allergic reaction and miss my party. She made me cook for hours and then dumped everything on the floor. She continued to do stuff like this and then claimed that it was all accidental or she wasn't responsible for it. Hell, she even intentionally slipped me when I was at a family dinner. Why? So that I would embarrass myself and people would laugh at me. After months of receiving this treatment, I confronted Chrissy and asked my husband for help. I said, "You need to tell me what the hell your problem is, Chrissy. I'm tired of your behavior. I know you have been intentionally trying to hurt and embarrass me." "What the hell are you talking about, Ellie? How could you casually accuse me of something like that? God, are you jealous of me or something?" "Why the hell would I be jealous of someone like you, Chrissy? You are a freaking psycho. You literally don't have any reason to do what you are doing. You just enjoy hurting me." "God, Ellie, you need to stop being so dramatic. Don't cause an unnecessary scene. My mother is an esteemed lady who works at a charitable foundation. She is the last person to hurt you." I was alarmed by my husband's nonchalant reaction to me being abused. Sure, Chrissy did hide her actions and pretended to be innocent, but Jake knew about the food tampering and intentionally displacing my stuff. I was surprised that he was blaming me for accusing his mother. I was horrified to hear what he said. I said, "Jake, you need to do something about your mom. What she has been doing to me is borderline abusive. You saw how she intentionally makes food with stuff I'm allergic to. She knows I will suffer if I eat that. She doesn't even inform me about it." "You are being ridiculous, Ellie. Mom would never do something like that. It's all in your head. Mom has been telling me that you are losing your mind by being jealous of her. I can see what's happening." "What the hell, Jake? You know your mother has been tampering with my food and adding allergens to it. You know much more than that as well. Still, you want to take her side?" It confused me as to why Jake was being such a doormat and completely disregarded my words about his mother. He was never like that. He loved me and cared about me, but now it felt like he didn't care about me at all. I felt like I was struck with a thunderbolt. I looked at him in shock and was trying to understand why he was behaving in such a way. That was when his mom said, "Jake, your wife is crossing all limits. If she continues this behavior, we may have to kick her out. I always knew she was unworthy of our family, and now she is proving it. If you want to support your wife, you can leave as well. That will help us decide better what to do with your inheritance." "Mom, I know Ellie is being crazy right now. I don't support her at all. I swear she will behave herself. I will make sure of it. If she doesn't, you can kick her out. I won't mind. I always knew you were the reasonable one, Jake. Thank God you can see past this crazy woman. I can't believe what a horrible woman she is, blaming me for her clumsiness and accusing me of being abusive. Leave her be, Mom. Don't worry. I'm on your side. She'll come to her senses once I talk to her properly. I then knew why Jake was going against me despite everything. You see, me and Jake were living with his parents because that's what they wanted. Jake worked in Xavier's company and was completely dependent on his dad for his income. He did give some assets as land and office complexes, but he didn't own a house. He wanted his father's assets and didn't want to piss off his mom for the same reason. Yes, my husband was a greedy and selfish prick. Xavier often stayed away for business, so he had no idea what was going on in his house. Hell, even I didn't know that my own husband would refuse to protect me. When we were alone, he said, "What the hell is wrong with you, Ellie? Are you trying to get us kicked out or something?" Seriously, Jake? That's what you have to say after I told you about your mom's abuse? What kind of a husband are you? The kind that knows how to secure his future. You are insane, Ellie. You can't just expect me to accuse my mom of such things. Plus, you pulled me into your problems. If she gets mad at me, do you think she will let Dad give me all of my inheritance? Is your inheritance more important than your wife, Jake? We don't need anything. Let's leave and buy our own house. We can afford it. It will be smaller than this place, but it will be ours. No one can abuse me there. Oh, please, Ellie. We cannot even dream of ever buying a house like this. I'm not going anywhere. You will put up with my mom and stop complaining. If you don't, I'm sure my mom will kick you out. Don't come crying to me then, because I won't help you. And that was the point when I knew that my marriage was over. Jake betrayed me in the worst way possible. He wasn't the man I thought he was. I felt helpless and didn't know what to do. Chrissy seemed to ramp up her abusive tactics after getting confirmation that Jake wouldn't protest. I felt like I was lost. I wanted to run away and just leave everything behind. But I didn't do that. I wasn't going to let Chrissy get away with her abuse. I came up with a plan. I was going to expose her. I was going to make sure people knew exactly what an evil woman Chrissy is. My plan was simple. I accessed the security cameras around the house and pulled all the recordings secretly. I found plenty of evidence of Christie's abuse against me. I made a compiled video of it and kept it aside for a very special day. Christie's birthday was coming up and we had a few guests invited for a small celebration. Xavier would be present as well. That would be my D-Day. The countdown has begun. I was out to destroy Chrissy. On the day of Chrissy's birthday, she was her usual jolly self. She acted like the sophisticated, caring woman that she is known to be. Surprisingly, she was even behaving well with me, probably because there were people around. I didn't say anything, but just went along with it. After the birthday cake was cut, I stood up and made an announcement. I said, "Thank you everyone for coming to celebrate my dear mother-in-law, Chrissy. I'm sure you already know what a sweet and caring woman our birthday girl is. Now, I won't go into a lot of detail about her great deeds since many of you already know them. But since today is Chrissy's birthday, I thought I should show you exactly how much of a good person my dear mother-in-law is. As you can see, I have set up a screen to display the little video I made about my great mother-in-law. Enough with words now. I'll let you all see this dedicated video and make your wishes for our dear birthday girl." I play the video and let it do its job. I actually came prepared even if the worst were to happen. Some of my friends were one call away, waiting for me to call them if something went wrong. After suffering for years at the hands of my monster mother-in-law, I was done being a doormat. I was standing up against her and exposing her two-faced self to everyone. I didn't care anymore. Not for my mother-in-law, not for my husband. I was freaking done. The people saw the video I had painstakingly compiled over the last few months. They were horrified and dumbstruck. Chrissy and Jake stood in a corner, overcome by shock. Xavier reflected on their reaction. I didn't blame the man. He was away for days and didn't have an inkling of what was going on. When the video stopped playing, it was actually my father-in-law who spoke first. He said, "What the hell did I just watch, Chrissy?" "Xavier, it's not what it looks like. I'm not like that. These are fabricated videos taken out of context, Xavier." "Oh, really, Chrissy? They don't look fabricated to me. You want to tell me that my daughter-in-law went to the extent of fabricating videos? For what? To humiliate you?" Yes, that's right, Xavier. Ellie is doing this out of malice. I don't know how she managed to doctor those videos. I would never do something like this." Chrissy's nonchalant lies were getting to me. She wanted to tell everyone that her 1 year of abuse was all lies made by me. I didn't know how she thought people would still believe her after I made a full video of her antics. I calmly said, "So now you want to blame me for ruining your image, Chrissy? Let's do one thing then. Let's call the cops and let them decide if the videos are fabricated." "What nonsense, Ellie. The cops won't be bothered to listen to a lying witch like you." "Are you sure about that, Chrissy? You were saying that you don't realize that the stuff you were doing is downright illegal? Let's call the cops and find out." Chrissy looked more panicked at what I said. She never imagined that I would put her in this position. I had not only exposed her to her family, but also threatened to call the cops. She had never in her dreams imagined this happening. Her family was also pretty pissed off by what they saw. By a stroke of luck, I found out that some of Chrissy's friends were also present at the party. Friends who belonged to the charitable foundation where Chrissy worked. They were already giving her the stink eye while typing something on their phone. I assumed they were informing their work superiors about what they saw at the party. But Chrissy didn't notice that. She was busy trying to convince Xavier that she was being framed. She told him, "Xavier, do you hear her? She's threatening to call the cops on me. Ellie is threatening to get me in trouble. I'm telling you, she's delusional. Jake will agree with me." "Right, Jake. Care to tell me what the hell you were doing when your own wife was being abused under my roof?" "Dad, it's not as bad as it looks, Dad. Ellie is making a big deal out of nothing. Mom is a caring mother-in-law." "Seriously, Jake? You think this is how a caring mother-in-law behaves? Are you out of your mind? You were still defending your mom after I showed you proof that I wasn't lying." "Wait a minute. Ellie? You told Jake about the abuse and he didn't do anything?" I was glad Xavier caught that part, as did everyone else. They hadn't expected my husband to know the whole deal and not protect his wife. His damn wife, who he married out of love. No, his father's fortune and staying in a grand mansion mattered more to him than his own wife. He didn't want to upset his mom and risk his inheritance, but he didn't remember that his father didn't share his messed up ideas. Xavier was a man of morals and ethics, which also meant that he wasn't taking my abuse lightly. As I predicted, Xavier would be the one to help me get revenge against Chrissy. He was furious when I said, "I told Jake about the abuse, Xavier. He refused to believe me. He always told me that I was overreacting and accusing Chrissy of nothing. He told me that he wouldn't risk staying at this house by upsetting Chrissy." "And why didn't you come to me sooner, Ellie?" "I needed to collect proof and show everyone what a monster Chrissy is. From Jake's reaction, it became clear to me that I needed proof to show that I was being abused. Otherwise, no one would believe me or help me. We all believe you, Ellie. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I'm sorry I failed to raise my son right. Ellie, as for Chrissy, I don't even know what to say. You can call the cops on her. I won't interfere. What, Xavier? How could you say that to her? You will let her call the cops on your own wife? My life will be ruined, Xavier. Our reputation will be ruined. Dad, you are not thinking straight. We don't need to call the cops. We're your family. Ellie is no one. You can't support this. Shut your mouths, you two. After what you have done, you have no right to tell me how I should and shouldn't act. And don't call me family. Abusers and enablers can never be my family. As for my reputation, there won't be a spot on it. I will divorce Chrissy and disinherit Jake as soon as possible. I will have no ties with such monsters like you two. Chrissy and Jake were shocked to hear that. They didn't expect Xavier to decide that. Like always, they thought that they could spin the story to make me look like the bad guy, but no one believed them now. It was apparent from the cheer that the crowd made when Xavier made that declaration. Chrissy's friends had already left after giving me their support and promised that they would make Chrissy pay for her actions in their own way. They didn't even talk to Chrissy, and she was busy managing her very angry husband anyway. Chrissy and Jake cried to Xavier. They said, Xavier, you are not thinking straight. You can't just abandon us on Ellie's word. Her words are backed by proof, Chrissy. She didn't just tell me the truth, she showed it to me. Unlike my spineless son here, I actually do intend to do what's right by Ellie. Dad, I'm sorry. I know I should have listened to Ellie. Believe me, Dad, I had no idea that Mom was really... That is bullshit, Jake. I showed you proof once, but still, you didn't do anything. You didn't want to jeopardize your inheritance. I don't even know what I ever saw in you. It's freaking funny that your father cares about me more than you. Xavier, if you hadn't supported me today, I don't know what I would have done. I support you wholeheartedly, Ellie. My imbecile son doesn't deserve you, and he doesn't deserve the inheritance that he wants so badly. It's only fitting that I disinherit him now. Dad, no, you can't do this to me. Dad, I'm your son. Dad. Don't call me Dad, Jake. I don't want to hear that from you. I'm done being an ATM to two useless people who are nothing but a waste of space on this earth. Jake, since you have turned as greedy and fake as your mother, you can go with her after our divorce. You won't have a home here anymore. You're not serious about this, Xavier. You are saying this just to hurt me. You won't divorce me, I know that. We've been together for almost 3 decades. You won't do this to me. Yes, we have been together for almost 3 decades, but I had no idea that my own wife could be such a vile and monstrous person. After what I witnessed today, I don't want to be anywhere near you, let alone stay married to you. Chrissy froze like she was thunderstruck. Jake was already crying and repeatedly apologizing to Xavier. Still, I had no apology. It was funny just how today's event showed everyone where Chrissy and Jake's priorities lie. They only cared about money and reputation. They didn't care that they abused a person and let it continue for a year. I was disgusted with the useless man I called my husband. He was more upset at the news of being disinherited than hearing that his own wife was being abused. It was pathetic. Chrissy now restarted her crying and begging for forgiveness. Not to me, of course. She said to Xavier, Xavier, look, I know I made a mistake, but I swear it will never happen again. Don't take such a huge step without thinking, Xavier. I'm your wife. Can't you forgive me for once? Mom is right, Dad. We know we messed up, but we will make it up to you. We are ashamed of ourselves. This will be a wake-up call for me too. Please don't abandon us for one mistake. Please forgive me this time. You two have some nerve asking for forgiveness. You didn't even apologize to the main victim here, who is Ellie. You are apologizing to me because I have the power to make you bankrupt and homeless. Not once have you ever looked at Ellie with remorse or apologies to her for your horrible actions. So, Xavier had noticed what I had noticed. He saw how they disregarded me and were more concerned with Xavier. He knew that they didn't want to end up on the streets after having a life like that. As soon as Xavier pointed out the irony, Chrissy and Jake started to pester me with their apologies. It was so fake and desperate that it made everyone even angrier. I was scrambling away from them as if their touch would pollute me. I wanted those monsters nowhere near me anymore. I said, "Don't bother with your fake apologies anymore. I know you were sorry only because you got caught and are now facing consequences. I am not that doormat who came into this family a year ago. I know your fake faces." Ellie, come on, don't do this to us. We made a mistake. I should have protected you. I'm so sorry I didn't. We love each other. We can look past this. Let's try to forgive each other. We are family, Ellie. Yes, we are family, Ellie dear. I'm so sorry I was such a bad mother-in-law. I will get help and get better. I promise I will never do this to you again. If you just forgive us, we can go back to being the perfect family we were. I laughed, guys. I laughed when Chrissy and Jake said their piece. It was hilarious that they called it the perfect family. I don't know which perfect family abuses their own daughter-in-law. I don't know which perfect husband lets his own mother torture his wife. Their fake apologies were just like jokes to me at this point. I did feel a little powerful having them at my feet begging for forgiveness, knowing that my decision would affect and change their life for the worse. I gave them a small smile and said, "You must be delusional if you think I consider you family. You are nothing but leeches. You came to apologize because you have your future at stake. Well, guess what? I don't forgive you. You are not my family. Before you even pull the husband's card, Jake, let me be clear. I will be divorcing you. That's final." No, Ellie, listen to me. I did what I did to protect us. I wanted to protect our future. I love you. You let your mom torture me because you wanted to secure our future. I told you multiple times that we don't need your parents' money. I wanted to go get our own place to get away from your evil mother. But no, greed made you stay here and overlook everything your mom did. Well, it amounted to nothing for him. I will be disinheriting him whether he likes it or not. Even if you take him back, Ellie, I won't be having him around anymore. He can go freak off to where his mom goes. I am firm in my decision too, Xavier. Jake, we are done. You are getting a divorce and I will be going after half of your assets. You will pay for enabling your mother. Jake and Chrissy couldn't say anything more. They kept crying and saying sorry over and over again. You can imagine my satisfaction with this situation. I truly got my vengeance and protected myself. I called my friends who gathered my things and drove me to their home. Jake tried to stop me, but with one stern word from Xavier, he shut up real quick. I didn't even look at Chrissy because I wanted to forget her nasty face as soon as possible. I didn't go to the cops with the video. With Xavier divorcing Chrissy and Jake getting disinherited, I didn't need to spend money on lawyers to get them punished. They were in deep shit anyway. Xavier kicked them both out of the house. They came begging to my friend's place to try and stay with me. Xavier had an ironclad prenup, which meant Chrissy wasn't getting a penny out of him. As I said, her friends from the charitable foundation exposed her face to everyone at work and got her fired. As for Jake, His job at his dad's company was gone, and so were his dreams of getting a big inheritance. Now, their only refuge was me, who had both a job and money. Chrissy was so freaking shameless that she thought I would help her because, in her words, I was family. Well, I promptly kicked them out and threatened them with a restraining order if they ever contacted me again. As the months passed, I managed to settle into my own place. I was actually renting and waiting for my divorce to be finalized. Jake had a few assets that were obviously getting split between us. He didn't have a prenup in place because he thought I wouldn't be strong enough to leave him. Now I shudder to think that he could have easily turned abusive like his mom if I had stayed longer. Anyway, I did purchase a small flat after the divorce got finalized. Jake gave in easily because I threatened to go to the cops with the abuse videos. Xavier also did the same and got a smooth divorce. Jake ended up working 2 jobs to support his mom, who refused to work. He once reached out to me to complain about how his mom was making him miserable, and he wanted to come back to me. I laughed in his face and told him to enjoy his new life before hanging up. It was a long revenge for me that kept going on even after I stopped doing anything. Currently, I'm living a good life, and so is Xavier. But Jake and Chrissy are suffering and getting a good dose of karma for their actions.